All right, guys, so in order to reverse band something, like we said before, basically you just need a daisy chain, a carabiner, anchor the daisy chain to something sturdy, make sure it's not on something on a machine that's gonna fall off or bend or something like that. You might be in for a ride if that's the case. But realistically, put it around a nice sturdy pole, anchor it, you're gonna have thousands of pounds to be able to torque on that. So what we have here is basically the same setup. We have the carabiner on the daisy chain that's anchored and the band attached there. Dillon's gonna walk that around the actual hack squat shoulder pads itself. And depending on what machine you're using, you're basically gonna have to adjust that. Pull this band aside here. You're gonna have to adjust that so the tension is kind of how you want her set up. So essentially, in the top position here, there is very little tension on the band. So as Dillon comes up here, the band is no longer assisting. So at dead rest, not a lot of tension on the band. Now, as he descends through the eccentric of this squat, you're gonna watch the band tension pick up. So now, this band is removing a lot of tension at the bottom where the lumbar would sometimes take a lot of the load, so it's easier on the lumbar. It's easier on the knees. People that have knee issues, sometimes this helps. But again, the main idea is not to make things lighter, it's actually to make them more effective. So as he descends through the squat, let's take a look at it one more time. The band picks up tension. In the bottom position, the most tension is on the band. As he comes up and we are stronger, the band tension drops off, actually making the exercise heavier in a position where we are stronger.
So one thing too that we want to remember is a lot of times, to Braeden's point, we'll hear that people will say, oh, this is just making it easier. That's not really true. And if it is, it's just because the band is not properly set up. Because for me, to be honest, I'm quite a bit stronger than the load that's on here. So this band is just a purple band. It's not actually enough. If I was doing a working set, and I can show you why. And I can always tell, because even right now, if I go to the bottom here, and once I get here, if I explode, I can create so much momentum that I could push this sled up.
Yeah.
When this is banded right, when I go down to the bottom, even if I explode, which I will be able to because the band's going to be helping me and it's lighter down here, I get to about here, feels like a bus sat on my back.
Yeah.
And that's where your quads really get all that extra tension that you otherwise wouldn't have been able to have on because you would have never been able to move it from the bottom.
100%. So with that being said, again, there's gonna be some individuation here based on the machine and the individual using it. You're gonna have to change what tension of band you're using. You're gonna have to change where you're anchoring the band. But the main idea is we want no band tension through that top quarter roughly of the movement, maybe a third. And at the bottom, we want maximal band tension. So change your bands, change the loops you're using on your daisy chains, adjust it so, as Dillon said, when you get to that top half of the squat, especially through your later section of the set, it should be very, very hard through that top half of the rep.
You'll feel like when you're in the bottom and you contract down, especially if you do pause reps like Braeden and I like to teach, you'll go to contract and it feels like, oh, this is going to be a really easy rep. And then, as we said, it gets really heavy. And when you start to do that in a continuous fashion, don't forget, you're also taking a heavier load on the first portion of your negative. Yeah. And because then as you get into a lengthened position and your knee starts to flex and bend, you're taking a little bit of stress off the tendons, joints, knees. I don't know about you guys, I've been training for a decade and my knees sure like it.
Absolutely, 100%. It's one of the best ways. So for us, we love this movement. We program it for a lot of athletes, and it's just a way to get more effective reps. Now, is it something to always do? No, you're gonna want to have changes in programming and so forth, and maybe do a different squat pattern that's not reverse banded and so forth. But this one in itself is very, very effective.